Hey everybody, and welcome back to the shop. In this episode, build 3, we are going to concentrate on taking this center plate out, which has the drivetrain components, the idler, pulleys, the steering column, as well as the clutch. And if we got time, we are going to take the back primary clip and this front engine clip and separate, so that way we can get these frame rails. And then we're going to do some cleanup work and might even spray some paint. So don't you go anywhere, because we got some building to do. Hey everybody, and I'm glad you're still with me. Right now we're going to concentrate on getting this plate right here off. And in order to do that, there's a few bolts we had to take out, and then we have to disconnect the idlers underneath. And we had to do some pre-disassembling. And I did that so that way, you know, we can kind of speed up the video. But there is one thing that I do want to show you. Underneath this, there is a, it's called tension springs. These tension springs can be extremely dangerous. And I'm going to just kind of give you a bird's eye view of them. And these tension springs are right here, which I don't know if you guys can see it. It's pretty dark in the video, but there's a tension spring right here that actually hooks up right here on the inside of the frame rail. And these tension springs have a lot of force on them. There's also a tension spring which is up underneath the pulley right here, which actually engages and disengages the clutch, which moves the belt. It actually tightens the belt to activate the rear primary axle, and then it loosens it up. And I have it right here. And what it does is it actually tightens and loosens that belt. And this is where you're going to find those tension springs hooked up at. So, and we've already removed one of them, which is right here. And we're getting ready to remove the other. And it's real simple. I've already disconnected it. I just got to remove it from the frame. And there it is. So, and this thing here has a lot of force. I mean, it is, these things fly if you ain't careful. So, I do recommend you get a spring remover or what they call tongue pliers. They're a really good handy tool. So, and then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take these bolts out right here. And I've already removed the deck lock. This is called a deck lock. This goes actually on the back side here, and it helps lock this in place, which we already got that removed. And what we're going to do is we're going to take these bolts out, and I don't know if you guys can see it, which there's one here, there's one here, one here, one right here, one here, and they're the same on the other side. Exactly the same on the other side. And all you got to do is just take them out. Now I did take 3 of these out already. And I kind of broke the bolts loose. And what I like to do is take them out and just kind of shake it a little bit if you can. And then you take your wrench, and I'd always push them through. And you got to push it through to get this bracket off. Push it through as much as you can. Go to the other side, and you take those same 2 bolts, which we got the same 2 bolts. You just kind of some pre-disassembling, so that way we can speed up the video a little bit. Push it through, and that should come loose. And then we lift this off. Sometimes it's easier to get it off than what it looks. And it comes off just like that. We'll put it right here for now. And then there is and what we're looking at now is right here. This is that tensioner pulley I was telling you about. And you look how big that monkey is. It's got a lot of force on it. Now back here, there is an actual bolt right here. This is your brake on your primary. This is on the rear axle. And you just take this off. Take this bolt off here real quick. And then just kind of wiggle it. A lot of times it'll come off, sometimes it won't. Sometimes you got to kind of monkey it with. Okay. I don't recommend prying on anything, but yeah. And sometimes it comes off, sometimes it don't. And it comes off just like that. And then you got to get this thing off. Just basically just kind of put it in an angle. Most of the time they come off this way. And then you got to pull it up and out of the frame. And that's how you take that out. Now right here, you got the wiring. Okay, and this wire here actually goes to the rear primary. And this is your seat safety wire, as well as your primary neutral safety switch. If the tractor is not in park or neutral, this here keeps the tractor from starting. So what we got to do is we have to disconnect that, and these can be tricky, and you can also break them. So gentleness is absolutely in need here. I'm hoping that we got a clip here that, and usually there's a clip that makes this sometimes they are an issue. And then you got to kind of get all the dirt off of it. There we go. Now basically I don't know if you guys can see it, but normally there are two terminals. Now this has got a nub terminal. But a lot of them that we have on our fleet basically has a 2-blade terminal that comes out and slides right in there. But this is actually what they call a nub terminal, which makes it really nice. But you want to disconnect that. You want to pay attention. Just kind of go through it. Find your cords. Don't disconnect it and start yanking the wires. Okay? Because there's ties throughout these. Take a pair of pliers. Grab a hold of the twisty tie or the strap in this case, and all you got to do is just twist it. Comes right out. And then just go right along. You got metal clips here. Some of them have metal clips. And the best way to do that is I usually take a wrench and just stick it right in between it and pull them right off, just like that. And you want to put this up with the rest of the harness. Try to keep the harness. Here's a wrench that I lost earlier. And you want to double check both sides of the frame. You want to check it here, see if there's anything, and check all the way down through here. Okay, a putty knife works really well at this point. If you just kind of want to check around for any other wires. And so far, I do not see any of them. Check the back, all the way around the back primary, all the way around here. And just kind of visually look for any wires. The reason why is because of ground cabling, or ground wires, because sometimes there's ground wires that run from the primary to the frame, and you want to ID those. So that way you know what it is when you take the primary out. That you don't want to take the primary out and rip the wire, because some of these primaries have a wire that has a little rubber bushing in the side of it with a wire that comes out and it hooks to the frame. And what that does is it grounds off the connection inside, which interacts with these sensors right here for the neutral. And if you pull the primary out and you damage the wire or yank the wire out of the primary, then you got to take the primary apart in order to repair it. And sometimes there's a sensor in there as well that it's hooked up to, and you have to buy a new sensor. So it's just safe to check for that wire. Not all tractors have those, and not all primaries have those. I've only found just a few that actually does. And I have been there where I have damaged that wire, and it's a headache to fix. So, and I do not see any wires, so we're good. Now on the rear clip right here, we have these bolts. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, back on and keep the camera lined up. So we got these two and these two right here that we got to pull out. Now, how you get these bolts off is inside the frame rail. You have these nuts, and there's one there and there's one there. And when you take those nuts out, this whole entire rear primary will come off in one piece. Now to take these bolts off, it basically takes a 1/2 inch wrench, and there's not very much clearance in here, so you have to do a little bit at a time. And of course, you want to push the back side of the square nut in so that way it's snug in the frame. So now that we're on the other side, we got this issue right here. We got this linkage right here. Now, if you take your gear shift, move your gear shift, move that all the way forward. So that way you can get back here to these back bolts. And that's out of your way. Okay, folks, I'm just now taking the last bit of the bolts out. And I think we're ready to, she's loose. Yep, it's loose. It is loose. There's a primary just moved. Now, when we pull these frame rails off, this jack stand right here is going to catch this engine plate. So you want to have a set of jack stands handy when you're doing this kind of work.